Good morning. We're going to get everybody a minute or so to get logged in. I have one case that is a prove up, so it should go fairly quickly, and that's Miss McGregor. So I'm going to take you up first, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
There's a form that that's required on every divorce case that we don't have. It's called a Bureau of Vital Statistics form, or BVS form. And it's just a document that that agency keeps for every divorce case. It's got personal information of wife and personal information of husband, and they just keep that. So I need to fill that out. Hopefully you
Yes,
have
sir.
all this information with you. But let me ask you these questions, because I think it'll be quicker for me just to type it in, and I'll print the form out here and file it for you, because it'll probably be the easiest way to do it. But what is your maiden name, last name,
Holiday,
and your place of birth, city and state?
Houston, Texas.
Your date of birth?
March the 5th, 1970.
And then your residence?
You need the address?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's 5525 Reading Road, number 1603, Rosenberg, Texas, 77471.
Okay, and that's all the information I need for you. Now let's move to Mr. McGregor. Do you know the city and state where he was born?
He was Longview, Texas.
And what is his race
It's black.
and his date of birth?
January the 18th. Because 1957.
And then well, not last question. I've got one about the date of marriage here in a second, but his address, Mr. McGregor's.
The last address that I had was 5350 Bel Air Boulevard, number 966.
Number
And that's
966?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's Bel Air, Texas, 77402.
Okay, and then any minor children?
No, sir. No children, no property, no nothing.
Okay, and the date of marriage?
January the 27th, 2015.
And then last question, the place of marriage, city and state?
Rosenberg, Texas.
Okay, that form is completed. And now if you would please raise your right hand to be sworn.
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that you're going to give in this call will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. McGregor, do you know the questions? Like, do you know what to say, or do you need me to ask you questions to grant the divorce?
You can ask me the question, sir, because I didn't have that form with me. I was trying to find it.
Sure. Let me pull up your decree here. Okay, Ms. McGregor, are you presently married?
No, sir.
Well, are you presently married to James
Well,
McGregor?
yes, sir. Yes.
And prior to filing this petition for divorce, did you live in Texas for the 6 months? Oh, you can put your hand down. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Did you, prior to filing this petition for divorce, did you live in Texas for the 6 months before you filed this?
Yes, sir.
And did you also live in Fort Bend County for the 90 days before you filed this petition?
Yes, sir.
Has your marriage to Mr. McGregor become so bad the two of you can't live together as husband and wife?
Yes.
If I were to not grant the divorce today, is there a reasonable chance that you and Mr. McGregor could go back to living together as husband and wife?
No, sir.
Were there any children born or adopted during this marriage?
No, sir.
And are you presently expecting a child?
No, sir.
Have you reached an agreement with Mr. McGregor? And I know there's not a lot of property, but did you reach an agreement on what property you did have, what he's keeping, what you're keeping, and what bills you're paying and what bills he's paying?
Yes, sir.
And is that agreement in this final decree of divorce? And are you asking me to approve that?
Yes, sir.
And then finally, ma'am, you're asking that your name be restored back to Latanya Burns Holiday. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And Holiday just has one L?
Yes, sir.
And are you doing that in an effort, is that a name that you previously went by?
Yes, sir. The Burns is for my girls. That's their last name, so I want to keep that name. And then my maiden name before marriage is Holiday. It's my
Okay.
birth name.
All right, the court has reviewed your paperwork, Ms. Holiday, and everything is in order. And I am granting your divorce. And I'm
Thank
also
you.
granting your request for your name to be restored back to Holiday. And I have signed your final decree of divorce.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You can get a copy of this order from the district clerk's office. And
Yes,
you'll want
sir.
to reach out to them so that you can change your name wherever you want to change it. Okay,
Yes,
best
sir.
of luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, also, Mr. Gills is going to be very quick, so let me take Mr. Gill up. And then the other ones are going to be lengthier, so I'll take those up next. Mr. Gill, if you would please raise your right hand for me and unmute your other hand.
Okay, there you go.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that you're going to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then same question, sir. Do you know, you can put your hand down. Do you know the what you need to say, or do you need me to ask you a question?
You can ask me questions.
Okay. Mr. Gill, are you presently married to Margaret Drake?
Yes.
And prior to filing this petition for divorce, did you live in Texas
Yes.
for 6 months and live in Fort Bend County for 90 days?
Yes, sir.
Has your marriage to Miss Drake become so bad the two of you can't live together as husband and wife?
Yes, sir.
Is there a reasonable chance the two of you can go back to living together as husband and wife?
No.
Were there any children born or adopted during this marriage?
No.
Is your wife pregnant?
No, sir.
Have you reached an agreement dividing up your property and debt in this case?
Yes, sir.
You feel that agreement's fair to both you and your wife?
Yes, sir.
And are you asking me to approve those agreements and grant you a divorce this morning?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Gill, the court has reviewed your paperwork. All your paperwork is in order. I'm granting your divorce, and I have signed your divorce decree. You can get a copy of the order in the district clerk's office.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have Miss Wiggins, which is a default, which my guess is going to take probably 10 minutes because that takes a little longer than the average case. And then I've got Rayanga and Curtis, which the time announcement was 2 to 3 hours. So let me take care of Miss Wiggins. Lawyers, do y'all need to be put in a breakout room to talk about exhibits or anything, or have y'all had a chance to talk? And if so, y'all can just cut your videos and take a break for about 10 minutes and then come back and we'll start y'all here in about 10 minutes or so. But do y'all need a breakout room?
Judge, I e-served my exhibits yesterday, so I haven't received any exhibits from the other side, so I'm not sure if we need to get together on that. I guess I'll ask Ms. Daniels.
Let me do this. Let me put y'all in a breakout room so I can take care of Ms. Wiggins. And then if you get in there and you decide you don't really need it, y'all can always just come back in. But I'll create a breakout room for y'all, and that way y'all can discuss that while I'm taking care of her.
Okay.
Okay, I've got the lawyers going to the breakout room. I'm going to leave the clients here. I know looks like Miss Curtis left the room. So y'all can join that room and just talk. Okay, Miss Wiggins, do you know what
Yes.
to say for the divorce? Do you have like a printout of what you need to say, or
I do. I have a sample letter.
great? So, because when on your case, it's a little different than the two I had before, which
Okay.
were agreements. Yours is considered a what we call a default. So, I'm going to get on. I've got to get on a record. So there's a machine that's going to take down everything that I say and everything that you say. So we'll make sure we just talk one at a time. What I'll do is at the very beginning, there's certain legal things that have to be said. So I'm going to do all that first for you. And then once I'm done with all that, I'll ask you to raise your right hand. I'll swear you in. And then once I swear you in, I'll say, ma'am, you may proceed. And then at that point, if you'll just read me that sheet that you have, there may be a few questions that I have after you finish reading the sheet, because yours is a little bit, because it's a default, you're required to put on your entire case. So there may be a couple of questions I have that aren't covered by that sheet. But so that's the way we'll do it. And I've got to get the record set up. So just give me 1 second, and then we'll get started.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I printed up another BVS form, so we'll just do the same thing we did yesterday, if I don't forget. Okay, before we get on the record, I would like to ask you this. So it looks to me like there's no children and there's very little property listed in your decree. And, but you filed an inventory, and the inventory basically just says y'all don't have any property.
No, we don't have any property.
And so the reason I want to ask you this before we get on the record is once we're on the record, I can't really ask you anything other than stuff that I need for the case. A lot of people that come in front of me think that, well, you know, I bought a car, but it's in my name alone. He doesn't have any interest in that car. And in Texas, technically anything that you purchase, even if it's just in your name alone, is considered community property. So you really want to make sure in your divorce case that you list that, because it cleans the title up. So anything that has a title, like a car, a trailer,
Okay.
a house, anything, even if it's in your name alone, you want to make sure when you're going through the divorce that we list whatever he has and whatever you have. Now, if there's nothing, then that's okay. But if you've got stuff like retirement and cars and things like that.
I do have my car. I do have my vehicle.
And was that purchased during the marriage or before
It
marriage?
was purchased during the marriage.
Yeah, okay. Well, we definitely want that. You definitely want that listed. Otherwise, you could have some trouble later on. So any other property other than the vehicle?
No.
And is there a car note on the vehicle?
It is a car note on the vehicle.
Okay. And do you know what the vehicle's worth and approximately what's owed?
Actually, I don't know how much it's worth, but I know I owe like $16,000 left on the vehicle. Maybe 16.5, something like that.
And do you think the car's worth that much, or you think you're upside down on it?
Nah, I think I'm upside down for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, most of the time we are on these cars. You get them, you pay $25,000 for it, and you drive it off owing 25, and as soon as you get out of the parking lot, it's worth 21. It's just kind of the way cars work. So if that's the case, then, and that's all you have, when you're giving me the testimony, you're going to want to add that, you know, just that, Judge, I have this year, make, and model of my car, and I can, if it's not in your decree, I'll add it in your decree. So that gets cleaned up. And then if he has anything like that, it's best to just say, well, and he has a Jeep or, you know, whatever. But isn't
He
in
doesn't have a
custody?
car because he's incarcerated, so he don't have a vehicle.
Yeah, I saw he was in the Fort Bend County Jail, I think, when you started, and now he's in TDC. So
Correct.
he's been sent to a unit. All right, well, let's get on the record here, and then is there any other property there, retirement accounts, anything like that?
No, I mean, retirement as in my job. Yeah,
Mhm.
I have a retirement at my job, but I mean, I've been there way before I married him, so I don't know.
Well, so everything that you had before you got married is your separate property, but everything that you have since you got married, like any increase in donations that were made since then, are community. And I have to, so the law says I have to divide up an estate, even if someone's not here, in a just and right division. So what I would say is if you have debt too, then,
No, we don't have any debt together because we were separated more than we were actually together, married. So we don't have any bills, anything together. I did purchase the car while we were married because of Hurricane Harvey. I flooded the other car, so I had to get another car. It was during the marriage. And my job that I've been on for 22 years, I was there way before I married him.
right. And is the job, do you have like a 401k or is it a pension plan? What kind
No,
of?
I actually work for Fort Bend County.
Okay, so you're on the county plan?
Right.
Okay. And then, so just so you're clear, why I'm struggling a little bit is because even though y'all have debt and it's in your name alone, if the debt was incurred during the marriage, he's responsible for half that debt. So you may say, well, Judge, I know he's in prison. He's not going to help out on these bills that I have, but that helps me in a divorce case for you from the standpoint of if you have debt, then it allows me to maybe give you all your property because, if you're taking on all the debt, then you should get the property.
I mean,
So
the only debt that I have is I live in an apartment. I have my car note. I have my student loans. But I don't know credit cards, but those are credit cards that I don't really owe anything on them. I have really limited debt.
Okay. So how long have you been married to him?
Actually, May 28, 2010. So that's what, 13 years?
Okay. All right. Does he have any assets that, even though he's in prison, does he have anything that he gave to like his family to keep for him while he's incarcerated?
No, I still keep in contact with his mom, but he doesn't have a car. When he got incarcerated, his car was repoed. He doesn't own a house. He doesn't own, I'm pretty sure his mom has his clothes. So I don't know.
Is he incarcerated for anything that he did to you, or is it totally unrelated?
No, he did something that he's always done. He's an alcoholic. And for many years through our marriage, we've struggled. We've been to counseling, and I've taken him back. He continues to drink, and he will not stop. He was incarcerated the last time when we got separated the first time. He was drinking. He got incarcerated. And then now he's incarcerated again for drinking again. So it's like, it's an ongoing thing over and over and over. And I'm just tired of dealing with an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So alcohol means more than your family. I've did 13 years and I'm just pooped.
Yeah, I know. I've represented people that struggle with that. I have people that come in front of me that struggle with that. And I understand how that impacts all the family members around and all
And
the
that's probably why I don't have anything, So it's like I'm trying to get my life back on track.
Yeah. Let's do this. We're going to get on the record and I'm going to say some things, like I said, before I turn it over to you. But if you'll do me a favor, mention the assets that you have, the retirement and the car, and the amount that you owe on the car. Make sure you tell me that if you're you think you're upside down on it. And then I also want you to touch briefly on the alcohol abuse. Okay. Because that allows me to do some things on my end that I need. So I want you to tell me a little bit about that, kind of like you just did, but I want you to do that on the record so that it's clear what all your testimony is. Okay. The court's on the record in cause number 21 DCV 283614 in the matter of the marriage of Samtanya Wiggins and Colby Wiggins. The court's going to take judicial notice. I have the petitioner, Ms. Wiggins, with me on Zoom, but the court's going to take judicial notice that the respondent, Colby Wiggins, was served with the citation in the original petition for divorce, standing temporary mutual injunctions for divorce with no children. And he was served with that on June 25th of 2021. He was served in TDCJ, and that return of service has been in the court's file for the required 10 days. The court's going to also take judicial notice that the respondent's deadline to file an answer has passed, and there's no responsive pleading or any kind of appearance in the court's file from Mr. Wiggins. Is Colby Wiggins in the courtroom? Colby Wiggins. There's no answer in the courtroom. Deputy, if you please call that name in the hallway 3 times. And while the deputy is doing that, the court's going to also take judicial notice that the petitioner has filed a military status declaration stating that the respondent's not actively serving in the military, as well as a certificate of last known mailing address. Thank you, Deputy. There was no response to the respondent's name being called in the courtroom or in the hallway of the courthouse. At this time, Ms. Wiggins, if you would please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that you're going to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Your Honor, my name is Samtonia Wiggins, and I filed this suit for divorce from my spouse, Colby Wiggins. At the time I filed for divorce, I lived in Texas for at least 6 months and in Fort Bend County for at least 90 days. I'm asking for a divorce because our marriage has become unworkable and there is no reasonable expectations that we will get back together. My spouse and I do not have any children together who are under the age of 18 or still is in high school. I am not expecting a child, and I did not have children with anyone else during this marriage. I asked for our property and debts to be divided as set out in the decree of divorce I have present to this court. I believe this division is fair to both me and my spouse. I have a 2017 Nissan Rogue. I believe to be upside down in my vehicle. I owe at least $16,500 on the vehicle still. I do have a retirement from my job for Fort Bend County. And Your Honor, I respectfully ask the court to grant me this divorce due to my husband, Colby Wiggins' alcoholism. He, throughout our marriage, he continued to drink. We have been to counseling, trying to solve this problem. He's been at TDC twice. This is his second time incarcerated for alcohol. He's been to Fort Bend County several times for DWIs for alcohol. And Judge, I'm asking you to grant me this divorce today.
Okay, real quick on the retirement account, can you tell me when did you start working for the county? You said you worked for Fort Bend County, is that correct?
That's correct.
And when did you start working for Fort Bend County?
Actually, I started as a part-time employee in 1999. I started as a full-time employee in 2009.
And when were you married to Mr. Wiggins?
I was married to Colby Wiggins in May 28th of 2010.
And so some of this retirement that you have, was it accumulated prior to your marriage to Mr. Wiggins in 2010?
I had retirement before Colby Wiggins. Yes, I actually used to work for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice before I went to Fort Bend County. So
was that
yes,
the state as well. That was retirement through the state.
retirement through the state.
Okay. The court's going to make the following findings. The court is going to grant the divorce based on irreconcilable differences. Sounds like Ms. Wiggins has dealt with a long history of alcohol abuse by Mr. Wiggins over the course of this marriage relationship. And because of that, the court is taking that fault basis into consideration in dividing up the property in this case. The court finds that the only property really in existence is a 2017 Nissan Rogue, which is upside down. So it's not really an asset for Ms. Wiggins, but the court is going to award her that asset as well as the debt associated with the Nissan Rogue. The court finds by clear and convincing evidence that 100% of the retirement through the state was Mrs. Wiggins' separate property that was accumulated before her marriage to Mr. Wiggins, as well as a portion of her retirement through the county is her separate property. It was accumulated prior to getting married to Mr. Wiggins, and the court is confirming that property as her separate property. The remaining amount in the county retirement account is awarded to wife in its entirety. Husband is awarded any assets in his name or under his control, and he's to pay any bills in his name or any bills that he's incurred since the date of separation, August 16th of 2018. The court finds that that property division is a just and right division of the marital estate of the parties, and I am hereby ordering that as the property division. And ma'am, you're not requesting a name change, is that correct?
No.
All right, the court has granted your divorce, and I've approved your final decree of divorce. You can get a copy of this from the district clerk's office. I'm signing the decree now, and it'll be ready for you to pick up, or you can call and get fill out a copy request form, and they can send you a copy of this order that's signed by me. Anything further, Ms. Wiggins, that we need to address before we go off the record?
No, sir. Thank you, Judge.
All right, we're going off the record. Thank you, Ms. Wiggins. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Judge.
You're welcome. Hello? Yes. This is Judge Bell. This is not John's phone number. If you can change this number, it's been my number for 25 years and I'm on the bench. So if you can take this number, it's like the 40th call I've had for John in the last 2 months. Please take me out or take his number off of your computer. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
$13.
Do you need this? This is. Thank you.
Okay, we're not on the record yet, but I've got the record set up, so we're ready to go as soon as y'all are ready. But are there any preliminary issues or anything we need to address before we get on the record from either side?
No, Judge, we just have some stipulations as to exhibits.
Okay. My computer's just got a blue circle going around, so give me a second.
Judge, Mr. Ray Anga is waiting to get back in this courtroom. He says he's in the waiting room.
Okay, I'm bringing him in. I was pulling up your exhibits and my computer, that program froze up. So once I get the exhibits pulled up, we'll get started.
Can't hear it.
Okay.
There it is.
All right, what I'm thinking we may have to do is my Outlook, which has the ability for me to get to the exhibits, is giving me an error message. It froze up and it's saying it can't access the shared drive. So that I think what I may need to do is just reboot my computer. But if I do that, I'm going to lose y'all for a second. So let's do this. I need to be able to access those exhibits. So I'm going to end the meeting. We'll come back. Just log back on. It shouldn't take more than a minute or two for the computer to reboot. But if y'all will just log back on the Zoom and we'll get started as soon as I reboot.